Hi, I'm Mingyung from Relearn to Share. This is my second video on Unit 1 of IB Chinese on language and identity. Today I'll be talking deeper into this unit by telling about different aspects that determine our identities. So in this presentation, I'll be talking about how language, lifestyle, beliefs, and values determine our identity. Those three are like the three big aspects we go through in this unit. And also I'll be talking about how there are advantages and disadvantages of using dialects and having different dialects in a country. So these are the vocabulary words I'll be mentioning throughout this presentation, which could be helpful for you guys to memorize these words because it could be helpful, very helpful to learn during this unit. So I'll be going through these vocabularies really quickly. 身份认同 means identity. 语言 means language. 方言 means dialect. 母语 means mother tongue. 语音 means pronunciation. 沟通 means communication. 传统 means tradition or culture. 异产 means heritage. 亲密感 means intimacy. 归属感 means a sense of belonging. 意义 means significance. 信仰活动 means religious practices. So now I'll be talking about advantages and disadvantages of dialects. Since in China there are different dialects they use in different regions, in different areas. So in this unit, teachers will usually talk about how China has different dialects, and this could be an advantage and disadvantage in our lives. So I'll be talking about the advantage of having dialects and using dialects. So the first point is that dialects can bring a sense of belonging, which in Chinese you would say 方言可以带来归属感. And you could use this point when you're writing about essays, and you could give examples like when you're traveling to a different country, when you meet people that use the same dialect, you will kind of feel a sense of belonging, and you would feel more closer to that person rather than a stranger you met in a different country that doesn't speak your language. So you could support this point by saying those examples. And the second point is that dialects bring diversity to language and culture. So you could say this in Chinese by 方言给语言文化带来多样化, and 多样化 basically means diversity. So since dialects, there are different types of dialects in China. This could bring diversity in languages, especially in Chinese language, which could also spread culture to different countries. Yeah, and the third point is dialects are a cultural heritage. Since dialects are used from the past and passed on to generations and generations, you could say in Chinese by saying 方言是文化遗产. 文化 means culture, 遗产 means heritage, which when you say 文化遗产, it means cultural heritage. Now I'll be talking about the disadvantage of using dialects. First of all, dialects can create communication problems since there are different types of dialects and very many combinations of dialects. It could cause communication problems when different people from different areas are using their own language and communicating to each other. So you could say this in Chinese by saying 方言可以产生沟通问题. 沟通问题 means problems in communication. And the second point of disadvantage of using dialect is that dialects are not beneficial for communication. And you could say this in Chinese by saying 方言不利于交流, which means dialects are not beneficial for communication. And you could support this by saying dialects are hard to understand by saying this in Chinese 方言很难了解. And in a full sentence, you could say how dialects are not beneficial for communication because they create communication problems. you would say this in Chinese by saying 因为方言可以产生沟通问题，所以方言不利于交流。So this would mean that because dialects can create communication problems, therefore it is not beneficial for communication. And the third disadvantage of using dialects is that using a dialect is not suitable for formal places, because in formal places such as school or in meetings, people would use Mandarin or the formal language in a country. So, like in school, we use Mandarin. So this is a formal language. So if someone uses their home language, which they use their own dialect, this could cause misunderstanding and communication barriers. So we would say this in Chinese by 使用方言不适合正式的地方, which means using a dialect is not suitable for formal places. And 正式的地方 means formal places. I'll be talking about how language could determine our identity. Language is a big aspect we learn in this unit on how language can differentiate our identities. So first of all, language could predict about life background of others. Through talking with different people, we could know where people are from, such as when someone is using Korean, we could like predict they are Korean because they are using Korean as their language. So in Chinese, you would say 推理别人的生活背景, which means 推理 means predict, 别人 means others. So basically, this means could predict about the life background of others. So in a full sentence of how language could predict about the life background of others, you'd say 语言可以推理别人的生活背景. Yeah. And then for the second point, language could know which country someone is from. Just now, from the example I gave, you could also apply this point. So you would say 知道别人是哪国人. So in a full sentence of how language could tell which country someone is from, we could say that 从语言我们可以知道别人是哪国人. And in this unit, you would also learn about how mother tongue, learning our own language, like home language, is important to our identity. So basically, you'll be learning about how 母语 is important in our lives. So the first point I thought about learning mother tongue is important was how from learning mother tongue, we could learn about our own traditions and culture. So you could say this in Chinese by 从母语我们可以了解到自己的传统, which means from learning our mother tongue language, we could learn about our own traditions. And for the second point, I thought was that mother tongue could preserve human heritage, since we continue on using the language that our generations, like past generations, used. This could help us preserve human heritage. So we could say this in Chinese by saying 因为母语可以保存人类遗产，所以学母语很重要, which means because learning mother tongue can preserve human heritage, therefore it is important to learn our own mother tongue language. I'll be talking about how lifestyle could determine our identity, and there are different types of lifestyle you could say in this unit, But here are some examples I used while I was learning this unit. So, first of all, a lifestyle that could determine our own identity is lifestyle of recycling and vegetarian. For lifestyle of recycling, you would say 循坏实用的生活方式。循坏实用 basically means recycling. And for vegetarian, you would say 素食者. 素食 means you only eat veggies. So 素食者 means vegetarian. So, if you are writing an essay on how lifestyle could determine our own identities, you could provide examples such as how lifestyle of recycling affects representing our identity, and how like vegetarians could determine our own identities. And now I'll be talking about how religion could determine our own identity. It like it depends on like individuals on which aspects they think it determines our own identities, but I specifically choose religion because religion is a pretty huge aspect on how we determine our own identity. So religions such as Hinduism, Christianity, Judaism, and different religion could affect representing our own identities. So I included religion as an aspect of how we differentiate our identities in this unit. So religion in Chinese is 宗教, and through religion we could find our true self or your true self, which means 找到真正的自己, which you could support this when you're writing about religion. And for the second point, I said you could find meaning in life, because some people find their meaning in life by following a religion. I thought it was a good point to support this topic. So you could say this in Chinese by saying 找到生活的意义, which means find meaning in life. And the third point I said was you could find your belonging in religion. So some people don't feel belonged or a sense of belonging to a group. So by following a religion, they could feel that they belong to a group, or they are belonging to this religion. So in Chinese, you'd say 从宗教找到自己的归属感. 归属感 was a vocabulary word I mentioned before, which means a sense of belonging. So 从宗教找到自己的归属感 basically means find your belonging in religion. This is the end of my presentation. If this video was helpful, please like and subscribe, and write any questions on the comments section. Thank you.